Get into the groove now, baby. Prove your love to me. All right, your song, Niels. You get to sing your song.
Yeah, I'm doubtful if there was this. It was a bad song from the
Oh,
1990s. Give
no.
it to me, baby. Which would sound nice with "Prove it to me, baby." But it was a stupid song back then, so I think it's still a stupid song. So
It has become no less stupid in the 30
exactly,
years.
exactly. It has remained its full stupidity. Yeah. So here we are.
Well,
Here we are.
yes, here we are. We are on YouTube and LinkedIn as usual. For those of you who are on it, we are also on Substack. So
Yes.
that's I'm going to set that up here so we can actually see it in the meantime. So
And we changed the title, this podcast title, after 80 something episodes from Beta Codex Live to News from the Beta World. So, this is the new title of this podcast as well, which is also the title of the Substack web magazine that the Beta Codex network has been running for 10 months or so.
yeah, almost a year.
So this is all new.
Yeah,
How do you
all
feel?
new.
How do you feel, Ryan?
I feel excited. I feel very interested in the topic that we're going to talk about because it came out of a recent experience for me. And I think it is very relevant to people who do this kind of work. As
Yeah.
I would call pioneering work. I'm digging the possibility of talking to you about this. We talked about it a long time ago. I'm trying to get Substack to work, but oh wow, okay, there's one.
Okay.
So yeah,
This
we
is
don't have
working.
any. It's go live with stream key. Um, going
And the title of
live.
today's episode is Prove It to Me.
Yeah, prove it to me, baby.
It's been a recurring theme in beta work. Even before that, during the Beyond Budgeting days, we always had this problem. Prove it to me.
Yeah, where have you done this before? Where has this worked?
Where is this?
What can I copy from someone else to try and get it to work in my environment?
Yes, yes. I'm not sure if this is real, so prove it first, please.
Yeah,
Yeah, show me a case. Give me a case. Tell me somebody you already worked with who did this. And please in the same industry. But then you would just be a follower. Do you want to be a follower? That's one of my preferred. You just told me that you want to be a follower. Don't you want to be an early something adopter or so at least? But no. Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. This prove it to me. It's a reflex, right?
yeah. It's so it's that typical kind of I want to do what everyone else is doing because I want to be one of the cool kids, or I don't want to get. Here's the one I think I don't want to get yelled at by the people who are in higher authority than I am.
Yes, that's a
I don't
corporate
want.
view of prove it to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to waste somebody's money. So that also tells me that when you're talking to someone like who's interested in transformation and ask you that question, they don't have the authority to make something happen. They don't really want it.
Here I have the opportunity to disagree. We don't do that very often.
Yeah.
This
Well,
cherished moment, we can disagree a little.
yeah,
You
oh,
said
for sure.
the person with the prove it to me. I agree that sometimes lack of authority is the
Yeah.
reason for the prove it to me, the distancing reflex, so to speak. But I think it's also sometimes the prove it to me comes from the space of I just don't care. I want to deflect the risk, as you said before. So that's not necessarily a lack of authority, but I think one of the big reasons that McKinsey is still in business is that prove it to me thing. The only way to deflect responsibility. If you have authority, you can hire somebody to help you, but you will always have to justify your choice, except if you go with McKinsey, etc. Or Deloitte or so. So from the others, you have this prove it to me reflex because you want to be on the safe side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but there are many. I would like to say there are many reasons apart from not having authority that lead people to this. For example, one of the reasons that I hear of sometimes the prove it to me line is
Yeah.
of relationship. They don't have a relationship with me, so they just tell me it's a fuck you thing, right? Prove
Yeah.
it to me. Yeah, just
I don't know. Who the hell are you? Why
yeah.
should I
Who the
listen
hell
to
are you?
you?
Prove it to me first. Why would I respect you? And it shows that you don't have a relationship. Or I think another reason for the prove it to me reflex might be I don't believe I have a problem. This is something that I have encountered a lot. I don't
Really?
have prove it to me because I don't really have a problem. Somebody who
Then
has a
why are we talking in the first place if we
exactly because somebody who says prove it to me marks that she or he doesn't have a business problem to solve, because if you have a real problem to solve, you will say, tell me how you would tackle this. How would you proceed?
yeah,
How do we start this in your mind? That's the kind of question that you would ask somebody you want to work with who can solve a problem that you have. But if you don't have a problem, you say, no, first your credentials and give me a client address and prove it
yeah,
to me, the PowerPoints and the whatever. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
prove it to me has many origins. No?
Oh yeah, yeah. And you mentioned something there. The you're alluding to the fact that you're not starting the conversation with here's what open space beta is. Here's what the principles are. Here's the how we do this thing. What you are starting with is a sense of conversation, dialogue with someone who's approached you because
Yeah.
because honestly, they have a real thing going on. They have a problem that they
Yeah.
want to solve, and that what they have been trying to do is not working. So
Exactly.
and it so that also comes. So at some point, then think, well, the way you've been doing things with the top-down control, command and control, planning and steering mindset, and a guess of value coming out instead of a dialogue at the periphery.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and since you okay, so you start that conversation. Um, what? How do you avoid the prove it to me? Maybe that's a good question. How do you circumvent that?
I th- yeah, okay, that's a good question. One hypothesis is you don't circumvent it. You just when somebody throws the prove it to me at you, you know that you don't have a client as an
Mm,
external. We're talking
yeah,
about the prove it to me. We are hearing it being said between somebody from a company and a consultant, for example, right? An
yeah,
advisor, yeah, external help. But of course, internally, it's the same. I think the prove it to me comes from the space. There's this. I just edited the Hans Weichselbaum book. You just proofread it. Thank you, Ryan.
wrong.
Yes. And there's this wonderful line here from the perspective of the old. The new is always wrong.
Yes,
Yeah, one of the
yes,
strongest, wittiest quotes in the book, maybe. Yes. And that's a natural thing. So if you suggest something new to a person, that it should be wrong, right? If you have the old mindset or the old mental model or idea or concept in your mind, then
mhm,
the new must be wrong. It must be proven then, because it should be wrong, right? The old is unsuspicious, and so I think the right response to prove it to me is hell no. Can you follow?
hell,
Hell no, because you know that your stuff doesn't work. That's why we are having this conversation. You are fucked. I don't have to prove anything to you. No, I will not. I don't have to prove. You just need
yeah.
to be curious of what I have to offer if you want to get this problem solved. Or tell me that you don't have a problem, then I can walk out. That's the big
What?
one of the
Well,
responses,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Responses.
Well, the other thing is that well, if you want to do everything you have already been doing, it just faster and bigger, you want to scale what is
Scale
currently
madness, scale
scaling that
losing.
scale losing. So, and then as well, then you're not talking about overcoming the system, which is the
Yes,
wording that Weisselbaum has used.
yes,
But you're
yes.
talking about optimizing what is already there. You're not talking about pioneering or doing something new that shows that you and your organization have a view of what it is like to thrive and survive in the current amount of complexity. You have a desire to uh, just I just want to do what I'm doing. I want to make more money with what I have. I don't want to change things too much.
Yeah,
I like where we are.
yes, yes. I think that, oh, you just mentioned overcoming the system, right? Overcoming the system requires, if you want to do it together, it requires some curiosity, some insight, or some acknowledgement of your own problem to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot overcome a system if there's no acknowledgement of a problem. I have a problem. That's the first step.
Yeah.
Now, with optimizing the system, with the other approach to change, which is these expressions come from the Axelbaum book, right? Optimizing the system doesn't require much insight. It's just let's do this a little bit better, While in overcoming the system, you ask, how can this be done much better? How can we do much better? That's a very different question.
Yeah.
And
I love how you said that, because that's a distinction in the book. Well, I know we'll talk about the book in depth later, but
yes.
there's a difference between doing something much better, continuous improvement, always being improving,
which is very good, very important, but it doesn't start from acknowledgement of a serious problem. Also, it comes from this. Let's optimize this. Let's make this better.
And it's starting by looking at the problems that you have, looking at the problems that you have, and focusing on, where we have the problems that we have, and yes, those problems are interesting and they're painful, but why don't we just step back from that a moment and not imagine that just getting rid of the problems being enough. Imagine what someone would say this: what does 10x look like? Or what does when you think of much
brilliant, fashionable pitch words here, 10x.
Yeah, I
what
know.
does 10x look like? How
can we? Scaling language. I had a feeling
it is the worst language. Until recently, what did people say? It wasn't leveling. It was
going exponential, I think was.
Going exponential is very good. And what was the other blah blah thing? Pivoting. I love pivoting. How can we pivot? 10x. Everything is 10x now.
Well, it was 100. It's 1,000.
How much is that? It's a lot, right?
It sounds like
exponential.
Well, what you have to have something to measure, right? You have to have something to measure.
Prove it to me.
Prove to me that someone has gone from where they are, let's say revenue, they've 10x their revenue in 6 months. Okay, all right. Well,
but I think this is part of the illness. It's beautiful that you brought this up. It's part of the illness of the market, the management market, so to speak, that we are content with this optimization mindset. Prove it to me that we can do it a little better. Or if Deloitte promises 5%, that's enough. Then you spend millions on that, or gazillions on that kind of project, instead of wondering, okay, how can we really? You cannot optimize your way to transformation.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
Huh?
We've talked about that one a while ago too.
Yeah, did we? Okay, I had forgotten already. It sounded like a new phrase to me, but apparently it isn't.
Well, no. We said it was optimize or transform. Choose one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there we tackled that. Yes, but this is the prove it to me. It usually isn't about prove it to me that we can optimize 3% out of the process. The prove it to me is about can we do different? Can you prove to me that we can do? When I started working with Beyond Budgeting 25 years ago, I frequently got this question: prove it to me that it's possible in my industry. I'm a bank. No. Why do I have? And we always had a bank, as proof, as a case. But to say, but Handelsbanken does it, then they would say, yeah, but that's in Sweden. So prove it to me that it works here in Germany, Italy, or whatever, or Austria, So the
Mm.
prove it to me doesn't end. It means that it's a fucko. How do you say in America? It's a fuck off thing, you say. Just fuck off. Leave me alone. Leave me in
Yeah,
peace. I don't want to. Don't make me think. Throw some power.
yeah.
But don't make me think.
Well,
That-
and I
It's it's insulting if you make me think. And the prove it to me is very unthinkable, unthinky.
yeah, it's lazy. It's
It's
lazy.
lazy. It's lazy. Yeah, it's a sloppy thing to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
never say that.
Hmm.
But the thing is, when you say prove it to me, there is usually already proof there that what the person has isn't working. What the company, the client has isn't
Yeah.
working. So the proof is no, you already proved that your shit isn't working. So I don't have to prove to you that beta or decentralization or
Mm.
democracy or time orientation is working because you are stuck. So why do
Yeah.
I have to prove anything? You have a problem. You are deep.
Well, what I was going to say is
No,
in this. So this is the client conversation. We're talking about the client conversation. Someone has a problem, and we want to get paid for doing work that is valuable to them,
do
and
we? Yes, we won't. Yeah,
consulting, actual consulting. What I've also found, and this is what when you are explaining the how to a colleague, right? How do I? This is what I do. It's a different conversation, I would think, and maybe it's someone wants to recommend you, or someone wants to introduce you to someone you don't know as, hey, this guy has a new way of doing things, and how do we? And in order to, I think there's an establishment of trust with that colleague so that they would confer that trust to someone else without your knowledge. So I think that's a little different. That's a little different. So that there's, or maybe it's not. Do you think that's any different? If to, dare I say, convince a colleague, this already sounds like bullshit.
yes,
Um,
but I
to
get it. Yeah.
to if I want to expand my client base and doing that through referrals. Um, that that's something that was asked to me. That was asked to me. Someone said you have a methodology. I'm interested in it, and what can you tell me about it? Can you show me where you've done it before? To give me a sense of comfort in that I would recommend you to the clients that I'm currently working with. Do you think that conversation is different, or is it just the same deal?
Not quite sure. Isn't the prove it to me thing always an indication of lack of willingness to think for yourself and reflect and get into the topic? Because usually I would expect from a conversation with a client or to be client person,
Yeah.
I would expect that we have a good conversation, that we get to know each other. And yeah, but if that person asks me in the same conversation if I want to prove it, or do you have another client or who I can talk to, then I feel less inclined. I feel not very inclined. I think it doesn't work. It's not that I want to be rude. It's not that my motto is not there is no consulting without insulting. That's not my motto. I don't want to insult anybody, but I think it's an insult to a consultant to say to a consultant, give me the name of some client of yours so that I can call my assistant can call the guy up or the gal up and check
Well, I
if what
would.
you see is true. I think it's very insulting,
Well,
because
it isn't so. Well,
they call
it's.
me a fraud.
Are you worth my time? Are you worth my time?
Are
You know,
you
I
worth
don't.
my time? That sounds like very American. I love that. I never heard that, but it's
Oh,
it's packed into it. Yes, it's part of it.
yeah. Well, it's the gatekeeping of that. I guess that is. That's that. Well, folks who are coming from Alpha World, um,
Yes. I think in
there's.
the alpha world, the prove it to me thing internally is also very common, probably, right? Somebody
Oh, it
has an
is totally.
idea or a suggestion, prove it to me. What's the business case? What's the
Well,
our I've seen that at my employers when I started, working as a consultant. Show me the return on investment calculated first. That's prove it to me as well, and I might come into a boss with logic and say, we should do this and that because it's cheap and it will bring us a lot of benefit. No, first the Excel, please. Make a calculation.
Please
Wait,
take out your crystal ball.
huh?
Please take
Yeah.
out your crystal ball and tell me what is going to happen in the future, so that I can tell a
Yeah.
story about
Or no, I wouldn't even listen to your argument if you cannot prove it in an Excel sheet. And it's a refusal to think. It's a refusal to relate. It's a refusal to converse. It's a refusal to question one's own set of assumptions. Yeah. And again, from the perspective of the old, the new is always wrong. So prove the old to me.
Prove me wrong.
Yes. We are sitting in a pile of shit, but prove to me that what you have is better shit. I would be sitting in.
Well, so there's
It's
also
absurd. You know, it's
there's
absurd.
well, this is also, there's this maxim, like the errors of commission versus the errors of omission. So if I say yes to something,
Yes.
then I am on the hook for it working well, and I don't want to get kicked out. I don't want to get shamed. I don't want to get demoted.
We better get McKinsey.
Exactly. I better get McKinsey, because I can blame them. I can blame them if it goes wrong. I'll hire them.
But you'll never go wrong with McKinsey.
Or BCG or Deloitte.
They are
or
amazing. They are just amazing.
Yeah. Has someone come back ever to you and say, well, McKinsey says this. What do you have to say to McKinsey?
Nobody has ever said that. Maybe people are afraid of me a little bit. 15 years ago, Silke and I did a project at a company where McKinsey had already messed things up, you know. And after 14 days, some people at the client told us, in 14 days, you've gotten farther with us than what McKinsey did in 6 or 9 months, you know. And Silke's response was, and it was incredibly cheaper, right?
Well, yeah.
Sure. Because
2 versus 200 people, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's an organizational illness that makes. I think that's why we're discussing this topic, because the prove it to me is a symptom of so many dysfunctional reflexes and beliefs. Yes. And this is not against McKinsey. It's just that these beliefs lead to, you know, obnoxious relationships, you know, flawed assumptions about what external consultants should do, what theory is good for. If you say, prove it to me, this is also an expression of disdain for theory.
Yeah, that you don't.
That's a terrible thing, you know, because if I say, okay, I would like to approach this through logic. Give me a logical explanation so that I can rationally understand what you're offering. That would be a great response. And then after having explained, the client could say, and has this also worked somewhere?
Well,
yeah, that could be fair enough. It makes sense. But has this also worked? I just want to know. You know, just want to check. Has anybody done this? That's okay. You know, then you can,
that also is a sense of
way around. You know. Huh?
It's not trusting oneself as well.
Yes.
Is that and the other thing is, well, if I don't trust myself, I want to have. Here's what I was thinking. The logic from, let's say, your McKinsey partner or whomever, whatever. I can protect you. I can protect you. So pay me, and I will protect you from the fear. I will keep you safe.
That's a very important thing, I think, behind the prove it to me thing or other things that clients say. There is I think this is a very serious thing that you just mentioned, right? We want safety. The client wants safety. And I think
that's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable.
Exactly. I think Silke always says it's the only thing that we owe the client, safety.
Yeah. And I think, and that's
technique is one thing, and that we accompany with, we have knowledge, we have methods, but the client wants safety, and that's a legitimate need, you know. And of course, that's why clients might tend to opt for big consulting firms, because the brand purvey safety and so on, but we as consultants, as real consultants, we have to give the client safety. I think that's totally legitimate. Yes, as you said.
Well, this is also about this is the alpha and beta shift, right? In alpha, there's the paternalist, the empire kind of structure where, okay, the empire keeps you safe, everybody. We keep you safe, we keep you fed, and don't question us. We're going to do what we've always done. We're going to still keep you safe, even though it's a lie, even though it's a lie. But out here in the wilderness, this is where the beta world comes in. Okay, out here outside the empire, what keeps me safe from the nasty, complex world of market dynamics out there? What keeps us safe is you and me being in a relationship. I am in this with you. I have a stake in this. You have a stake in this, and we're Al Jarreau, right? We're in this love together.
We're in this love together. Exactly.
Yeah. And through any kind of weather. And that is the shift. And that's as opposed to trusting someone else with your safety and purchasing.
As you correctly said, it means trusting yourself first so that you can trust the consultant. I think it's a rare thing. That's one of the dilemmata of alpha organizations. I think that trust is eroded internally. And external relationships also get eroded by alpha command and control relationships and so on. They are not, today's organizations are not very Weichselbaumi, not very networked, not very, relying on like Toyota, having trusted relationships, long-term relationships relationships that are supposed to last decades, And once you erode that trust, of course, you find it harder and harder to partner with a consultant who can, help you overcome your own system. And if you cannot develop that trust in a conversation, then you're stuck with command and control forever, ultimately, right? That's the learned helplessness thing that the social psychologists explain so well. It's a very, it's a sick situation, a very messy situation, and of course, this to get out of it, you need to start relating differently, internally and externally. If you want to overcome the system, you need to forge different kinds of relationships.
It's thinking differently, thinking different.
To pivot.
Or to pivot, to exponentialize yourself.
Yeah, exponentially. And to.
Well, I think the other, I'd read an article recently about this pathology or this diagnosis of intolerance of uncertainty being pervasive, and that has become into the psychology and psychiatric research as a fault of human beings in this era. And I think when I read that seemed to be very, very dismissive of human nature, that people were not capable.
It sounds like medical condition.
Yeah, it is. And the way they discuss this in the article was treating people for intolerance of uncertainty, as opposed to providing relational structures to say, okay, the world, I am accepting the reality of the world. This is existential philosophy at this point.
Yes.
And this is the world. It's gonna be uncertain. Shit's gonna happen. And I need to be stronger. I want, not need, because I want to be stronger so I can deal with the future more effectively. And if I can do that, to do it alone kind of sucks. But if I can do it with people with whom I have established trust, i.e. a trusted advisor, consultant that you run through this open space beta, rite of passage. And we're not talking about, I'm not going to just implement 6 months of ADCAR or whatever, then shove you into the wilderness and check out. We are in this through a rite of passage. And we are going to
make me think of an author. I'm looking for his books here. You're getting me sentimental, thinking about client relationships. David Maister. Where are the books of David Maister?
Oh, I'm sorry I broke your company. Is that the one you're looking for?
David Maister. You just got me sentimental, thinking about this book, The Trusted
Ah,
Advisor. Wonderful books by David Maister. There are also, I think, good videos out there. So he's talking about this kind of relationship, where you
well,
expect something from each other,
mhm.
and you place trust in the relationship. Of course, if you
Yeah.
if you lose the trust, then the relationship will break, which is okay.
But
But
this is yeah.
yeah,
I
this is a
just
book
have
from
to
the 90s, probably. So at the
like
time,
the
people talked of trusted advisors and so on.
well, I
Wonderful.
mean, the concept of trust has not gone away. I think, and that's
Don't
what
we have
this.
AI for this now?
Oh yeah, well, it's to outsource your trust. Yeah. Oh,
Or agile
now.
coach? How about agile coach?
Well, there's no such thing as an agile coach for another thing. The thing about trust is very important. It is okay. I am attempting to establish trust with you.
Mm,
So that if I say prove it to me, it means I don't trust you,
yes,
and
that's what it
that's symptomatic of that. There has been no relationship building, and there has been no dialogue. There's been no except this person on the other side of the table is attempting to understand me and to get inside the problem that I'm actually having, and I have I have exposed myself to this person at some point in terms of I'm willing. So that's I think that's a bit too. If someone is unwilling to really open up what their problem is to you, then do you really have a client, or do you just have someone who's just dabbling with what you're
Yes,
interested, what
yes.
you do?
And then you can still do an event together or entertainment, organize
Mhm.
company, corporate entertainment together, but you will never overcome the system together, for example. Yeah, yeah, that requires a different kind of relationship. And the whole prove it to me act, it is an act of distancing, right? Social distancing, one might say.
Special, conceptual distancing, relational. Yeah, it is social distancing as opposed to physical distancing.
Yes.
Taking us back 5 years. Oh my God. So what other parts of this? Where else does this prove it to me? Maybe that it's a system that is to be overcome. Right? Instead of engaging with this prove it to me attitude. Oh, let me go grab some case. I'll be right back. You
Yes.
know, here's a case study for you. Now are you going to like me? Now will you trust me? I've
Yeah.
gotten someone
Yeah.
else's work.
I get a pitch deck with a lot of corporate logos from supposed clients or past clients, or benchmarks and so. Uh, the last time I got a hands on a set of decks from a consulting firm, it was exactly like that. A lot of logos, a lot of cases, which
The
weren't
first
all there.
line.
They were just beyond budgeting cases and so on. And the whole deck was, a lot of references to
Hmm.
with no proof, no, of course, no coherence, and without any attempt to build any relationship. That's what you get from the larger consultant firms. You don't get relationships. The business model is exactly the opposite of relationship building. So yeah,
I'm not buying a relationship. I'm buying plausible deniability. And
yeah,
and
it's an expectation of buying safety, assurance that things will work out, and I get that. It is legit. It just cannot work out, not on a deeper level, superficially. Yes, you can always blame the consultants and so on, but that you can do with a smaller consulting firm or an individual consultant as well. So
well, I think that's the difference is that if you're buying your safety from someone else, you are not strengthening yourself. You're not getting stronger. You are not getting stronger in relationship inside your organization. You're not getting stronger as an entire organization. That you are succeeding. You have success all around,
yes,
and
yes,
you're
yes.
basically saying, "I want someone else to do this for me." Do some. Oh wow!
There's Yeah, and there's the opposite thing of prove it to me. That is, we are proving the shit out of you or something like that. Do you know that? There are
No.
communities, networks, associations, or so that argue about They push cases and proof in your face constantly.
Are you talking about the leaners, possibly, maybe, or
Probably yes, yeah, probably certainly yes. The leaners, the agilists do that, but also rebellion inclined movements. Also, they do this kind of thing. It's all about cases, proof. We can prove. There's more proof. Here we have the numbers, and take this case. Believe it.
trust me. Yeah, it's the last time you went into a car salesman, you bought from a used car salesman. He said, trust me. Yeah,
You can trust me.
and he said, you can trust me.
I never bought a used car, so I can. But do you want to share experiences?
Well, no, I the only used car we bought was well, I shouldn't say this was one back in the day when I was in college. I had a gig. My car had blown up. We needed to buy a car for the gig. So that was I needed to find something cheap and something that would run.
Tough situation. Yes.
Tough situation. And yeah, so the other used car was our current car, but we bought it from Carvana. So that was there was a implication of trust. There's an institutional trust.
Good. Yes.
I didn't want to buy it on the open market from someone I didn't know.
Okay.
But it was a convenience thing for me. So that's then this.
And used bases? Do you buy used instruments?
I did. My Alembic was used, but again, it was made in 1983 instead of. And those instruments, they have a reputation. They build a reputation over time. Which that actually
we bought that one, and Mark King of Level 42 bought all the others. I know that.
Mark bought him, Stanley Clark bought him, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, true. You're right.
And it sounds delicious.
But I recently saw, as you know, last summer I saw Level 42 live, and Mark King had several Alembic basses with him that night.
And probably had the JD that he used before he could afford an Alembic. He got another bass too.
Okay.
But the thing that was coming up to me too was reputation, right? Because the reputation, I'm not going to buy an off-brand bass I never heard of, or the whatever. I want to. Sometimes you buy on reputation.
Yes.
Sometimes you buy on reputation.
Yes.
But maybe that reputation is earned in a piece of its craftsmanship and all that stuff, but it's different in kind than a human relationship.
Yes. I think it's a different thing to buy a product on reputation and to buy a service on reputation. Just very different, right? No? Don't you think?
Well, no. Well, yeah, I think that's when you said that. I think, well, basically that kind of consulting service, if you're buying a product. You are buying a product. You're buying something that's configured. It's been tried before. It's been tested. This has been tested elsewhere. So that we've got our. Well, no, it's like McKinsey, whoever. We've done this before. We have a package. We have a playbook that we can sell you. That if you run this playbook, it will work here.
Yeah, isn't that just a fraudulent illusion?
Well, it is, but it gets the contract signed.
Yes,
it gets the contract signed. It gets the partner their numbers. It gets the quarterlies going.
This is a proposal for safe. We've sold it plenty of times. So here's the you can buy it safely. We've done it 1,000 times. OKRs. Look, we have done it 100 times. So it must be.
Well, and that's funny thinking about OKRs and the source of them from Intel, and that what happened to Intel during the OKR times. I think they started to outsource their semiconductor business. They totally stopped working in their zone of innovation. They stopped innovating, and then they weakened themselves.
I think the bigger reference for OKRs has always been Google. I already told you this story, but my former wife, she worked at Google in Brazil, and of course we talked about her experiences at work, and one of the things she said after a few weeks working at Google, that was in the 2000s. She said something like, we have a lot of great processes, and so at Google some things are really much better than in other corporations. And she had worked in advertising agencies and so on. She said, so many things are so much better at Google. It's incredible. She could never go back to the corporation to work. But the worst process we have, she said, was the OKR thing.
And how are they used?
It doesn't. They all do it the same shit. It's like Scrum. Everybody says, "Oh, we're tweaking it. It's totally individualized. It's different how we do it," and it's not. It's all the same shit. No, we do a Scrum button. No, everybody does the same shit. It's really everybody does the same shit. I mean, people at Google might be smarter than people at most other companies, or were smarter than people at most other companies, but forget it. It's all the same. It's all management by objectives. So it doesn't matter. But when she said, it's the worst process we have at Google, the worst tool that we use, and then few years later it became so popular, so hugely popular. And today, maybe I mentioned this in another episode as well. Today most of the clients that I work with, they are overcoming OKRs. They want to get rid of it, or already got rid of it already. So. It's like matrix structures or strategic planning, right? It's over
strategy execution.
Yeah. So, how did they do it?
How did they do it?
Everybody else. Everybody thinks they're doing it differently. It's nonsense.
Well, but the thing is that, how can you be doing it differently if you're doing it the same way someone else did it in a different, even if it is in the same industry?
It's this. I think a good comparison is with Scrum. Everybody says they are doing things in a Scrummy way, but what are they doing? They're doing some stuff, some things, maybe sprints of some sort or so, but that doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it better, because to improve a mediocre approach like Scrum, I think it requires a certain seriousness and, again, some theory. But the disdain for theory, it says that no, we just take something out. Recently, the other day, 2 days ago, so somebody told to me, I think it was Andre Pratke, who we talked with in our last episode. He said something to me about TOST, time-oriented software development. He said, in time-oriented software development, you cannot take anything out that's in the concept. It will collapse. It will not work. It's really minimal. So you cannot take out the OK point. You cannot take out the list. You cannot take out conceptualization. You cannot take out the TTEO principle, talk to each other principle, because then there will be nothing. So all the elements are necessary. In Scrum, it's totally precarious.
We don't do stand-ups, or we do stand-ups per week, or
take out anything. And what do you mean?
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, you're saying it exactly right, and that's we don't do backlog grooming, or we do backlog grooming. Well, that's actually something we need to do. Or we do story points in addition to what we do in Scrum, and that's this. And we do deliver something. We deliver something every 2 weeks. We have somebody who has the name of product owner. We have someone who has the name of Scrum Master. Maybe they've been trained. Maybe they have years of experience doing half Scrum in 10 different organizations. And the thing that's sneaky about Scrum too is there's a whole bunch of theory around it. There now, and
what those people call theory. Or do you mean, is it theory? What theory is
this? I mean, maybe it's the pattern.
Evidence-based, isn't it?
Oh, that's a whole other thing. But again, there's a reason that it did work in the environment where it did, and that they had a very they had a team in a vacuum in one, and they had someone who was building the rules of the game at that point, and they were adapting the rules of the game to that situation. And then you've got people who think they are inventing their own game, but don't know the theory that drove the the game that was invented. So,
Yes, as it
uh,
was. Yes, yes, yes. True.
as
Yeah.
it was, and again, not to scrum bash, although we kind of are, um, but I think the same thing happens. It happened with Scrum. That prove to me that Scrum works. People didn't start using Scrum. Many of them didn't start using Scrum until it got bastardized into safe.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And and
And yeah, but I seriously, every time I get something like prove it to me or similar, and so we should really talk about what you have, what's about your mess, and then let's take it apart and contrast it with the alternative that I'm suggesting to you, and then think for yourself if it should work, how it should work. That's the process that you need to make a better system work and to overcome your system that's clearly a shithole.
mm,
Yeah, you need to go through the thinking process. It's like to make wine, there has to be fermentation. Is it called fermentation? At play at some point.
yeah,
You cannot make wine without it. So please ferment now. Start fermenting, or yeah, don't unferment yourself here. Telling me to prove shit to you. I don't have
unferment yourself.
start fermenting. Start stinking for yourself, because you need to stink through this process. You have to
It
ferment.
reminds me, the fermentation process is very. I never say fermentation. Again, wine is a great example. I think of kombucha, which I hate. I cannot stand kombucha.
No,
But that, oh
it's totally
no,
okay. But is
no,
it because you are opposed to the idea of fermentation, or does it make
no! I've
give?
tasted it. It tastes like shit. I mean, maybe it was just bad
No,
kombucha. Yes,
no.
to me it
The
did.
most popular lemonade in Switzerland is kind of fermented. And always when I read what it is made for, it is made from something that involves milk, but it's a lemonade. It's a soft drink like
Hmm.
Sprite. It tastes a little bit like Sprite, a little better, much better than Sprite. But it's a little bit, but it goes through some kind of fermentation process. And every time I think of that, I think like, but it smells. It's totally good. It's wonderful. It's called Rivella. Rivella. It's wonderful, but it goes through some
Goes
sick
through a process.
process.
Well, man, this is I think this is part of the prove it to me means just prevent me from having to think. I want to.
Yeah,
I don't
prevent.
want to work. I don't want to work on trusting you. I
God,
don't. I don't want to think about
please
this myself.
prevent me from thinking.
Mhm.
Do not
Save me. Save
save me
me.
from thinking. Deliver me. Deliver
Deliver
me.
me, Father, for I've sinned.
Larry
Um,
Coryell, he did at a certain time. He wrote columns in the 1970s about music, and he did some. How is this preaching the original thing? The 10th the what's it called? This prayer, the most famous prayer in Christian.
oh, the Our Father. Yeah.
Yes. So he did that for musicians. And lead us not into disco, but deliver us from commercialism. That's how it ends, I think. It's beautiful. I laughed so
Deliver us
hard.
not into disgrace. Oh gosh. Hmm. Let's see. So we've got trust and relationship building, and trust, relationship building, curiosity,
Prove it to me. Yeah. And again, it's the disdain for
inoculation.
feeling behind it. It's deeply annoying. I find that
Prove.
people, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say. Well, here's the comeback. Well, prove it to yourself. Prove it to
Wow,
yourself.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Also, the way you deliver it now,
Yeah.
this De Niro-esque. Prove it to yourself. Yes, prove it. You better prove it to yourself. I think that would be much more valuable. It would help you much more if you could prove it to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without giving you examples. sloppy examples or the easy way out. Give me an easy way out. That's not
Yeah,
a
well,
good.
yeah, it's skipping to the end. It's I don't want to go. I don't want to walk through all the uncertainty. I don't want to face. I don't want to face the killer instinct. I don't want to face the discomfort of building a relationship with you. God forbid that.
I sometimes tell my clients when I sense that they are inclined, they don't want to marry me, and when it shows, I tell them, look, our relationship will be strictly time boxed. You don't even have to throw me out. If we do this transformational thing, it will be time boxed. I promise you. So it ends after the 90 days. The
Yeah.
stuff ends. And in open space beta, you have the date. So once we set
Mhm.
the open space meeting to date, you know that the day after you.
Yeah.
We don't even have to be friends. You don't have to like me much. The question is, do you want to work with me until then? That's enough.
Well,
So don't worry. Don't worry
don't
about.
worry. Don't panic. Says
Don't panic.
Douglas
Mostly
Adams.
harmless. Yeah, me,
Mo-
mostly harmless.
okay, so at the end of the second open space, so long and thanks for all the fish.
Yes. That's a nice one.
Yeah. Well, but I
And the
think that
dolphins jump out of the sea and into space.
space. Um, a new contact I just came into contact with is reviving that IP for different purposes. It's very interesting. I'm learning again the
Hitchhiker's
importance.
Guide to the Galaxy, you mean?
Yeah,
You're
and using it in
proving
different.
useful for you in your current life situation? Or?
Also, so far it's interesting, and I'm the guy who's shared it with is a very interesting person. He's actually connected to Douglas Adams, the family and the literature, and the IP of the characters. So
Okay.
it's very interesting.
Close to
Um,
God.
yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Well, it gets me thinking about
But he
Frank
was
Herbert.
British. You are aware that Douglas Adams was a Briton.
Oh yes, yes.
So they're not conning you or something like that. It's not a.
Oh no. The guy is British. Where was I going with that? Oh shit. Um,
Thanks for all the fish.
mm, thanks for all this. Oh yeah, that's where I was going with it. It had to do with the fact that you're saying, well, I'm going to be out of here in 90 days. We started 45 days before the open space. We're having the conversation. We did this 2-day open space. 90 days of flips, and then we built the cell structure design, and then I'm out. I'm out of here in 90 days, and
Yes.
that you're going in with a set of expectations that this is what's going to happen. It is a sense of certainty, but there's that
Time
the
and cost and scope. Yeah, and
and
this reliability, it's missing entirely in what the big consulting firms have to offer, which is never clear, in terms of time or cost or scope.
well, then I haven't heard this that they've ever said we are going to deliver in 90 days. We will do this, or even in 6 months or a year. It's like, oh, our contract is for a year. We're going to sign us on for a master services agreement for a year. We have this whole thing, and we have our project plans. We have our portfolio planners, and we're going to be here. We're going to be infused in your organization. We're going to be in there with you, but we're going to be. It's like the tendrils are in there forever. It's not as if, okay, we're going to go through a process. This is the defined uncertainty, as opposed to starting with this false certainty and moving into complete and utter shit show 3 months down the road. So I think that's
Yes.
the power of building a relationship and inviting your client to trust themselves and to
Yes.
prove it to themselves and to respect them enough to challenge them with it and to have enough confidence in your own self to be I've done this. I know the theory. I'm versed in the theory. We can talk about the theory. We can talk about potential situations that would happen,
Yes.
and we have engaged in a relationship, and we know there's going to be a ton of uncertainty, and then we're going to come back at the second open space. We're going to reflect. We're going to look at what's happening. We're gonna learn, and we're going to get stronger. We're not just going to continue to pay you money to cycle in new partners, new
Yes,
new
new
managers.
consultants. Yeah,
So, you didn't like what happened in the first 3 months. Well, we're just going to bring another portfolio manager in here. Oh, we're going to swap out a partner, or we're going
yeah,
to swap
yeah,
them,
yeah.
whatever. But it's you're okay. It's the opposite of learned helplessness. What is it?
Yeah.
Um, what did I forget what it says in the book? What you're going for? You're going trying to
Learned helpfulness would be the opposite of
learn
learned.
helpfulness or learn
And
learn
also the
help.
conditions are assured. I think it's very healthy to think of a transformation project in open space beta, for example, or even a TOST transformation, software in software development, installing a system of time orientation, that it must be time boxed. The scope must be, proper and fix. It must be time boxed, and the cost will be fixed, because we do not charge by, you and I and everybody else who's sane in the Beta Codex network, we wouldn't charge by hour or daily rates. So the cost and the time and the quality would be, and the scope would be fixed. So I think there's nothing safer than that. Isn't that what every client should look for, to feel
Well,
safe in an
and
unsafe,
it's
uncertain world
unsafe
where
at any speed.
ambiguity exists? At least to have those things.
Well, I think this also comes down to the one of the core parts that I'd read in the Weichselbaum book, so
Yes.
far in my reading of it,
Yes.
and
By the way, when I translated it, I learned some things afresh. It was I wrote the whole book in German 6 years ago, right? And now translating it again, I figured out, oh my God, there's this and that element. And we brought something into Torst at Pratke, for example, some of the elements that I discovered again or rediscovered in the translation. We already brought it back to Torst,
Well, it is
Quite
what I was going for. You talked about that the part of that's soothing to some folks about agile and iterative software development is that we don't have to know everything right up front. We can kind of work it through as we go, and we keep moving, and we're going to every 2 weeks we're going to learn something more and learn something more and keep doing that, and that's okay. It's better than just shutting off the gate and then just going for 6 months and delivering a giant steaming pile of shit at the end of it. But what you do in TOS, and I think what we're talking about doing in beta transformations, is you take a lot of time up front to understand, to get a deep understanding of what is happening, right? So all the components they're talking about. And I read that in the Weichselbaum book, is that if we get an order, we know exactly what is in that case of the order.
Yes.
And we have and that's, but you have to have done the research and knowing what your product is, and
you have to have
knowing
what Ernst Weichselbaum calls the okay point, and from the okay point, everything is set. Everything is safe.
And all the sales activity,
the delivery date, the cost, or the price is sure, and the quality. And that's the kind of system that's why it takes a lot of headaches out of a business to have an okay point. It's one of the most marvelous things. I'm very proud of this little book, because and among the I didn't create much, this is basically the work of Ernst Weichselbaum. I translated it into English. Of course, I had to think about how to rephrase things in English. But one of the things that I find, one of the tiny little ideas that I had, was to create this chapter number 5, okay point, no steering. It's called okay point / no steering. Because an okay point frees you of the need for steering. Once you have the okay point, once you reach the okay point, everything is set. You have all the information to get things done within a predefined time. So if you're a furniture manufacturer and the client places an order, reaches the okay point, the order is marks the okay point, the signature marks the okay point, then the client knows that delivery will be on the 9th day after that. And everything is assured, punctuality is assured. It's not a guess. It's not an estimate. It's not a forecast. No, it's The time is fixed. That's one of the beautiful certainties of time orientation, right? And we do that in open space beta and beta transformation as well. We can say, no, after 90 days, you will close this. You will.
The chapter is over. The
The
chapter
chapter
is
is
over.
over, and you will have reached something. It depends on you how much you will have reached, but it will be reached, and you can say, we did this. The transformation will be done. It will be accomplished.
And you have the daily portion of work, the sense of accomplishment, the sense of building mastery as you go through the process. And this, and again, the TTO again, it showed up in TAWS just for the first time, but there's
Yes.
it's alluded to in the Weichselbaum work.
Yes, it is. That's true.
But there's the thing again that struck me was about the level of detail and I guess rigor within the teams. That there's these.
Yeah.
We are holding each other to a very strict standard. And that if this is the okay point, our portion is going to be here.
Yes.
We're going to be done here. And in order to get there, if we don't have what we need here, there, and the other, we have to purchase it on the open market. So we get here.
Nobody cares about how will you deliver the thing at the next seam agreement, or seam as it's called in the Weichselbaum model. So if you pass on a product to another team, there's an agreement about there's safe. Yeah, it's previously agreed where to pass it, at what time of the day, and in what quality. And these agreements cannot be breached or broken. But it's up to the team to make it happen. Nobody will question it or reprioritize or plan or schedule or interfere. No, it's that team that decides how to.
Niels, hold on. You need to prove it to me that can really work.
Exactly.
You need to prove it to me. Well, as opposed to what we're talking about here, you're talking about something that's grounded in theory, something that's very, I was going to say, very well articulated. And it is you can witness it as patterns in other places. Not to say that your environment is exactly the same as every other environment.
Yes.
But if you challenge yourself to imagine, this is much better than what was happening here. All these things. And you start thinking creatively about the possibilities for. Oh wow, what if we could really have this delivery on this schedule? I mean, we would be worrying about all the variations. Again, we talk about that happens with the capacity swinging. With okay, so if there's a ton of work to do, there's a ton of people who are willing and committed to doing it because they have a pride in doing the daily work. So I mean, we're getting totally into Weichselbaum here, of course, because it's very present in me. But I think it does play into this idea of we're talking about doing things a different way, fundamentally differently.
Yes,
and
yes,
if
and
you
that requires the entrepreneur's willpower. There must be the willpower to do it, and there's no substitute for the entrepreneur's willpower. There's something like this in the book. That's one of the famous big sayings.
It's the wanting.
It's the wanting. There's this other brilliant chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. Wanting, becoming, being, and distinction.
I loved it.
It's mind blowing. I think it's very mind blowing. Because it makes strategy and others oversimplifying stuff completely unnecessary. Yeah, it's a substitute for that kind of hierarchical approach or this kind of planning-based approach that's embedded in strategic planning and so on. Yeah, so it's a big book. A small big book.
Yeah, it's dense. It is dense in terms of you've got a few words on a page in certain cases, but those words, they are fundamentally different than what you may have encountered before.
Yes, great. With this,
I think we're good. Maybe we're going to talk about Weichselbaum in a couple of weeks.
Yes, maybe in the next episode or the other episode. Yes, we will talk about this new book, which is coming out on the 15th of April. You just proofread it. I still have to do some corrections, and then we will send it to, the printer, basically. So it will be ready for dispatch for mailing until the 15th of April. Get your copy now, or several copies, one for everyone in the company.
Can you pre-order it at the Beta Code Express? Is that at this point?
Yes, of course. It's already possible to pre-order it on the Red 42 website and on Amazon.com, for example, as well. It's available almost everywhere for pre-order already. Yes, and it costs like $12 or so. So, what would Ernst Bamboo? That's one wonderful thing to read this season. Yes,
good spring reading. Good spring reading.
Exactly, and it has this springy color as well, right?
Yes, it does. More colors to it. All right. Well, a fun episode. We wandered as usually we do in many different places, but have always come back to the theme today being "Prove It to Me." So you have proven it to me that we as consultants, we don't need to prove anything to anyone. It's to challenge our clients to think for themselves.
Yes, there is no substitute to thinking. You really outlined that neatly as well. Yeah, there is no substitute to thinking. Great.
All right. Well, that's the news from the beta world for this period, for our daily portion, our bi-weekly portion. And with that, I will say end the stream in a moment. And then
see you all very soon.
See you very soon. Be well, be good, be more purple, and thank you.
Be more beta.
Be more beta. And we are out in a couple moments.